of choice for welding that whole piece up. It's not going to be mild steel. Believe it or not, I'm going to use stainless steel because it'll add a little rust corrosive resistance there. But yeah, it'll pull and do weird shit if you go real too fast and too much heat. But if you're slow and easy on it, that'll add a lot of rust resistance to that steel. It'll still rust, but at a slower rate. Oh, we got it kind of sanded off. That's one half. Boogered in the center there at that gap closed up. I'm gonna go ahead and sand all those down. And then we're gonna weld all down in here with the stainless. And then I'm gonna roll this top over here onto the stock radius so the body guy doesn't have a hard time with it. I'll probably add a little bit of stainless rod in on that too. Gonna get to the next stage on it. The old girl's done on the sheet metal. You just have to do a little bit of work on the bottom end, and then got to pull these felts out, and we got to pull that felt out, and we got all the stuff to do the rubber on this car. But anyways, that's the next thing we're doing. All right, got it all done. Filled in all the rust spots that were all rusted out. You can see the spot welds where we welded a plate in underneath where it was rusted. We welded all this seam back to the body. The whole pan is all welded back to the body. Took a long time, added little bits and pieces here and there so it didn't warp anything. But yeah, made that all. It's done. Time to put the window back in there. It was all rusted out. No longer. Pretty happy. Okay. Got all the rust neutralizer on there. Painted that all on. That is the next phase on cleaning up something that's all rusted up. I'm not doing any commercials for these guys, but I guess I'm doing a commercial for these guys. I use either Kelly Moore Rust Reformer or this stuff here is pretty good too, Rust-Oleum. But all the rust is now basically a coating. It's a form of black oxide. Basically turns rust into a protective coating, neutralizes the rusting effect. But it's also a cover over the parent metal and won't allow it to rust through. Especially after I get done with what I'm gonna do now. All right, we got it all painted now. That was a long weld, 2 of them. I can't hardly tell. So we got all the rust all on there, Rust-Oleum on there. Got the whole body line. That worked out pretty good. Just couldn't weld it too long in one spot or it would warp, but kept it from doing that. Luckily. That's the worst spot right there. That's where rust was. We basically filled all that back in as best as we could. Body man will take care of the rest of that. That's another spot where we had to fill in. Quick look from the inside. If you look at the body line, the upper body line to the lower part of the window tray there, you'll see that the lines are still nice and straight with each other. So we didn't put too much heat into the body. It's my first time doing it, so except for little repairs, but yeah, pretty happy. Okay, we got the whole Gator McCluskey getaway car, whatever we're gonna call it. I don't know if that's what it reminds me of. It's an old movie from back in the 70s. Looks like a getaway car, but got all the doors and everything all prepped and ready for paint. Got the windows out, the window felts off, all the trim is off. This car is in just great shape. Sheet metal's all good in the trunk. Repaired the whole window thing, got that all repaired. No more rust. Got everything all stripped and down, ready to go. We got a few things to do. Got those mounts right there. We got to put a few gussets on it to make those stronger. put a couple holes in the tranny tunnel with some threads so I can put a little center console there. But she's going to paint on Friday. All right, these are some pieces I'm making to weld up underneath the tranny tunnel. That's the side will be facing the transmission, but that's going to weld up through the hole, and then the center console I make is going to mount to that. Just trying to take as much metal off as possible so I don't add a whole lot of weight to the car. But do a quick little time lapse of those, making those from that to that. These from the underside up right here into the tranny tunnel. One up there, one here. Then I can bolt the whole center console and the shifter, and might even do a e-brake there, and just try to make it a driver's car. We're gonna leave all the stock dash, stock radio, and all that. This is coming out. I got an I did it console out of the El Camino we're gonna put in here, but the radio's staying. It's gonna be unworking, but it's gonna stay. All the freaking knobs are awesome. Everything works, so I'm gonna leave it that way, make it all work. And then we're gonna put all the auxiliary stuff over here in the center console. And then I'm kicking around the idea of putting just a little quick 4-point roll cage in this thing. Just something to put a bar where there is no bar on this hardtop, just for shits and giggles. Keep the sheet metal off my head. After I get the hard points for the center console done, I'm gonna put a piece of conduit from the back trunk all the way up underneath the console for any wiring that needs to come through the back. And then we're gonna put a stereo in this car. It's gonna be a fun driver, not a all-out race car. She'll run hard though. So yeah, that's next. We're gonna put a conduit from there to there, so it's a nice clean install for the stereo and stuff. But the next order of business is to take that A-arm connection there and put a couple gussets on that, because I've had those break off in the past on El Caminos and stuff, and this car will probably see a little bit of suspension travel, so probably gonna put the old upgrade on that. I got some tubular A-arms for that Hachias front suspension off the El Camino we're putting on. Okay, just cut these out on the saw. Got a big nasty burr on them. Gonna deburr them real quick and drill a hole in them. And then we're gonna use these as gussets for that piece I was talking about. Okay, back to the fun car. This is the one I can't wait to get on the road. Back to the fun stuff.